You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is the Unofficial 40 right here at Soonerscoop.com studios, right here on historic Campus Corner, where the usual crew is joining us. Josh McQuistion hitting us up from Houston. We got Eddie and George in the studio. The YouTube stars are here. I am Carey Murdoch, the cable guy. And if you want an update, I feel like we haven't given one in a couple weeks. I replaced a 48 bay patch panel last night that I'd used like 3 times previously. I think it was kind of going bad. And so we just need to get the stuff is working in the studio. It's just not connecting right. So as soon as we got the doors fixed this week, so no more dust and water coming into that area. So that was good.
Can I summarize for the people that really just want to know?
Go ahead.
Not done yet. That's the summary.
That's
the summary. We do have the.
And that's okay.
Spring game coming up.
We're just 1 month past the deadline that we had set, but that's okay.
Hey,
you said
today's tax day.
You agreed to the deadline.
Today's tax day.
I've been more involved with other things, and we got
tax day, big day.
Today's tax day. You can apply for an extension.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Carey applied for an extension with the studio.
I'm not frustrated though. We've made really good progress. It's gonna happen soon. Not this week, probably, but we're close. Like Lincoln Riley says, we're close, folks. Anyway, welcome in, Josh. First off, I'm a little concerned about Eddie Radosevich. He seems to be siding with the weather people these days.
I'm not siding with the weather people.
George, do you think he's siding with the weather people?
I don't know if you're siding, but you are definitely eating what they're feeding you.
Listen, I believe in the science. Did it rain or did it not rain yesterday?
It rained, but
we
that
did not, wasn't what.
And that's the
let's
good
set
news.
the stage here.
That's the good news.
So yesterday we had a decision to make. Like, do we go to Tulsa? Like, we got surprised with this Roger Denny media. So we were I was going to practice on what was that, Monday? Yeah, Monday. And Mike Houck sent out the email, hey, tomorrow at 4:45 in Tulsa, Roger Denny is going to be speaking to the media before he talks to the Sooner Club. And we started scrambling, and we were like, oh, God, we probably need to be there. Because, George, you get questions in the mailbag every week, like, grade Roger Denny and how he's done since he started. Well, I think your answer's kind of been, well, we haven't had a chance to really discuss much, and he hadn't been here for very long. And there were some, a few good things that were talked about. We'll get into that in a little bit. But the whole thing was supposed to be chances of tornadoes,
softball size hail from Eddie.
Low chance of tornadoes, high threat of hail.
Neither one happened.
And I think all of us, our worst fear is
tornado in Tulsa,
being on the turnpike with softball-sized hail in our cars.
Yeah, nobody wanted that. So when we got to the office yesterday, Josh, I just let them know that we need to be weather aware. Yesterday was a day that it felt like if the cap burst, we would be able to, probably get some large size hail, which there is another chance of today. And I just put out the fear. I put out the warning that we just need to keep an eye on it. And as it turns out,
it was a nothing burger.
We didn't get any
George
bad weather.
Did go.
We got some severe weather though.
Got barely any rain.
They did not rain at all on you on the way back.
A little bit.
I mean, it poured in downtown
and
last night.
It rained and all that. And yes, there was a tornado late in Tulsa. It actually went right by my parents' house, or there was rotation at least. But
kind of out of nowhere. too. That was kind of crazy.
Well, they had
called the Bedlam
there was a
baseball
bit of
game.
dramatics though.
At
and
4
not just
o'clock, like they had the helicopters up in the air, like out
Yeah.
in Clinton, and they were like, "Well, this is the
They were just
line."
waiting.
But
they were waiting to see if it.
there was
if
a
it
lot of
formed. I love
dramatics
it.
going on, saying like on TV that you needed to be where you needed to take shelter at 5 o'clock. Well, that was just not even accurate
was fear-mongering,
whatsoever.
That wasn't fear mongering. That was just keeping you on your
See,
toes.
this is what I'm talking about, Josh. It sounds like he's switched sides. I think we need to check.
Yeah,
and
what
see
happened to
what
the Eddie
payroll
that
he's
was
on.
like
I
big
love
bread,
the-
big dairy?
Well, that's winter weather. They have no idea what they're talking about. We have the best meteorologists in the country when it comes to severe weather.
Where we're going wrong here, guys, is we're focusing on the wrong thing. George Stoia, hero, sacrificed his car, sacrificed potential
with
danger
like
to
250,000
himself.
miles on the engine, he could.
I think
use
that was
a good total.
that was
right now.
George's long term, Josh, of hoping that it hailed, and then we could get him into a Lexus. Maybe next week.
Possibly.
That's what it was.
It's important to have a plan. You know,
Where was that?
What would Mike Tyson say?
Where was that thing yesterday?
The Summit Club in Tulsa.
What is that?
It's just like
I don't think I've ever been there. I've never.
You
even
have to
heard
be
of
a
it.
member of the Summit Club type of deal.
Cool.
It was actually funny enough. The Summit Club is in the same building. It's on the rooftop of the same building that my dad works out of. So I went and saw my dad. It all worked out. But
cool.
But yeah, Roger Denny spoke yesterday. It was a 15 minutes.
It was the AD that used to be a lawyer talking to the media.
Yeah. You can go watch that on Sooner Scoop editorial.
I actually said that. I sent them all the timestamps this morning, like at 5 a.m. And I think Curtis was the one that broke it all down. And like everybody else was like, "Oh, you talked to Roger Denny. That's going to be great. Let's play that audio." And Curtis was like, "Well, if you want to hear a lawyer talk for 16 minutes, just don't get your hopes up that it's going to be anything too dynamic."
The most interesting answer he gave was when I asked, "Has he had
About
any
Bedlam?"
Has he had any discussions with OSU about bringing back football Bedlam?" Which was a follow up to just what does Bedlam mean? Because he was there for the baseball game, and all he said was, "No, I haven't."
I think it's also still, and maybe this is. It's way too early.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't have had to make a whole lot of decisions as of late.
I will say that he had some good points, and I think Bob is going to write about it at some point. But just his thought process on the resources of men's basketball and why they hired Lucas McKay to be their general manager. He compared it to football and said, look at the success that the football program has had under Jim Nagy. They're hoping to replicate that, and he also talked about how Clemson men's basketball has had a lot of success so far in the revenue sharing era, and so that's why what attracted them to Lucas McKay. And I think he also just had some connections with Marcus Bowman and some of that. So I thought that stuff was pretty interesting.
Well, I also thought that he didn't really close the door on anything potentially changing with the stadium expansion or the west side.
I mean, his quotes are interesting
revenue.
on that because I took his answer as he likes the project. He thinks that the people that worked on it are very smart, but he is definitely open to changing some of it.
He clearly doesn't seem to be a guy that is used to spending $400 million on a
Correct.
project.
And it goes back to his comments at his press conference when he was first hired was he likes to do renovations in increments where you're doing a $50 million renovation and then another $50 million instead of doing all one big one.
I'll say this, though. I mean, when you make changes to OU Stadium, it's not something that I don't think you can do in stages. I mean, you certainly don't. I mean, we've all been to like Tennessee. If you walk around their stadium, that's a place that's done a lot of upgrades in stages, and it shows. Like you have like the Civil War era on one side, and then on the other side where they have the walk, like that's all brand new. And it's when you get inside, you don't notice a difference, but like Memorial Stadium, it's one of the and you guys we've all been to some of the biggest and best stadiums in the country. It is special how nice Oklahoma Stadium is and the job that they have done, and they are used to doing the east side and the south end zone, and then now the west side. Like that's the way that they've done it, and it makes it all it's all become a more cohesive stadium. That's it's. I don't know. It's not pretty, but I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it's
aesthetically pleasing.
It's aesthetically pleasing. Yes, that's a great way to put it.
I kind of read it the same way as you guys. I think that what they debuted or like the renovation draw up of what it is going to look like, I think there's going to be some changes to it. I kind of took away from that.
Yeah, I mean, I have the quote here. If you guys want me to read it.
Sure.
He said, I think I'll have plenty of input on it. I think right now we're still evaluating those plans, and in particular, evaluating how the phasing of that project impacts our revenue model in football. And so we've talked openly, the resources matter, right? Now the timing of those resources really matter. And so making sure we've got that project phased up so that we're in a position to take advantage of any resource growth that we get out of it to reinvest in the program and in the fan experience is the part of the evaluation we're at now. It's certainly an incredible project that a lot of really smart folks have spent a lot of time on, and so I don't have the hubris to come in and look at something and say, notwithstanding all the time and thought that went into it, I think I've got a better idea immediately. But I like a lot of it.
That's loosely translated to, yeah, I have some ideas, but I just met these people like a month ago that I'm working with now.
I'm not going to come in and just
I'm not going to shit on everything that they've put together over the last year and a half, 2 years, 3 years.
I think there's a good...
and we know that there's a lot of people that are upset about it.
I don't want to get people's hopes up, but I do think I kind of agree with you, Eddie. I think there's a chance that I think they're going to do some renovations on the west side. That's going to happen.
Change is coming,
but
you've got to wrap your mind around that.
Yeah.
But maybe some of the people that
they move the suites. Or
the people that Carey's talked to, that he talked to a couple podcasts ago about, maybe some of these people, their concerns are at least heard.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this: I think, it's one of those things where I know some things, but I don't know if I'm privileged to say them in terms of donor stuff. But I'll say this: the people that are committed already, and may have already built some really impressive stuff on campus recently, like a softball field. The last thing they want is for this to look like some kind of money grab to where it hurts the fan experience, and that it's exclusive instead of inclusive, because that's not the type of people that they are or the company that they run, and I think that matters to them, and they definitely have a say in how this thing plays out in terms of. I just thought that rendering was so bad. I mean, it does. I mean, the jokes about are they going to have armed guards around to keep the pores away,
which I don't think's a terrible idea, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, if you're sitting there,
well, they're not supposed to start construction for another year, right? It's the 20. I think, I reported it. I have to look it up, but I think it was 2027. So there's time to obviously change some stuff. But the Board of Regents have already approved it. I know that they do have some big donors ready to contribute, but I just wonder, does the design and some of what they're doing change between now and then?
Sure.
All right. Look, we got the spring game coming up on Saturday. Important to note, no television for this, which I know not great for people that live out of state and a lot of people that probably listen to this podcast. So the only way to see it is either through your ears, listening to Toby Rowland on the radio, or coming to the stadium,
or Sooner Scoop HD.
Or after the game, Sooner Scoop HD. Yeah, it makes.
Well,
I guess it makes Eddie more valuable, which is nice. But
some people thought it was impossible.
But we do have a spring game coming up on Saturday, and we've talked to a lot of players. Thanks to Brent Venables for great access throughout the spring. We had media access on Monday. Got to talk to Bowe Bentley. We'll tell you a little bit more about some of that. But obviously, this team is trying to get better on offense. Everybody's trying to get better. You may be trying to get better in your life. So whether you're looking to drop weight, boost energy, or just feel better heading into next football season, Cody Drug has you covered. They offer multiple custom compounded peptide-based weight loss options, including popular GLP-1 medications. Look, Charles Barkley's looking pretty good these days. And performance-focused peptides that help you recover faster, burn fat, and stay sharp. Cody Drug, you remember, they also love to team up with Oklahoma med spas and longevity clinics to help you deliver high-quality peptides quickly, safely, and with top-tier service. So while the Sooners prepare to make that offense a whole lot better and improve that run game, although we probably won't learn a whole lot Saturday. Let's chase a championship together, you with your health, Oklahoma with the football. Visit CodyDrugRx.com to learn more and see how you can get started. And also go check out Will. I think I saw some new stuff coming from him on Instagram at CodyDrugRx. Cody Drug, personalized medicine built for champions, built for men like Josh McQuistion and his family, who are proud clients of Cody Drug RX. So, also, not that he needs them, but our own Eddie Radosevich, who has perfect vision. I don't think you need a peptide for that.
No peptides. I do have perfect vision, and that's thanks to Enjoy Vision. Life looks different at every age, Sooner fans. Whether you were born a boomer or a little Sooner, Enjoy Vision provides personalized vision correction for every generation with $1,000 off LASIK and EVO ICL. EVO ICL. Lens replacement. Now's the time to get your eyes ready for the season. No matter what season of life you're in, schedule your free consultation and join Gen C at enjoyvision.com. That is the letter N-J-O-Y vision.com. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop gets a fresh perspective.
All right, want to get to some spring football. We talked to John Mateer. You guys talked about his flow yesterday, which was fantastic out at practice. And it was interesting talking to Bowe Bentley. And, another one of those things, kudos to Brent Venables. He's allowed us to talk to some true freshmen, which more so than any coach that I can ever remember. I mean, I think I remember Bob Stoops let us talk to Kenny Stills when he was a freshman, and we were just shocked. And I think it was about the Cali Trio kind of deal more than it was about Kenny Stills, because that was kind of such a sensation. It was Eddie's. You were back in college with those guys, right? When Cali Trio came in,
kind of towards the end of my reign in Norman. Yes.
So it was great. Talking to him. Who are the other freshmen that we've been allowed to talk to so far?
Boy. Just as of recent?
That just came in, yeah.
Krell?
Jake Krell
was
who's
Monday.
very, very, very good. We talked to
and of
all
course
of
we
the
have the
freshmen
preseason,
at the pre-spring
pre-spring deal, yeah.
But
all the newcomers and freshmen. But it's cool to talk to Jake Krell after he's gone through a majority of spring practices. And you hear, I know, Josh, I don't know what kind of buzz you've been hearing, but George, Eddie, I know you guys have all heard it, and we've seen little bits and pieces of it, but I think Jake Krell has made a bigger impression than we thought he would this spring on his teammates, his peers, even the coaching staff.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put that, Carey, because when you were I think he's made a bigger impression, I thought he'd be pretty advanced. I thought he would be good, but it's interesting to say it that way, kind of they've just been generally impressed by him, which doesn't and that is that's when I talked to him at Under Armour in January, that was what I came away with. It's man, this dude, he just gets it. He sounds like a third-year OU player right now more than a high school kid.
How about putting it this way, Josh? Right now, from kind of the buzz that you hear, is maybe his projectile track or whatever is ahead of a guy like Taylor Wine.
I think it will be, just because I think he's going to have a role this year. I just believe that, because they need people to create pressure, and there's kind of, as good as PJ is, that's not really PJ's game, guys. That's not what he's built on. That's not the way he's going to really impact this defense. So they need guys like him, like Danny Okoye, guys who can come off the edge and really be problems. So I would say he's ahead of that trajectory. I don't know. I guess the other way to say that is, I don't know if his long-term prognosis is where we kind of now see Taylor Wine, but immediately, yeah, I think he is more ready than probably any freshman OU signed, in the Venables era for sure.
But I think, we talked so
Cortland
much.
Guillory is pretty damn.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I mean pass rusher. You're right.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
I was like,
yeah.
And I do think
Fasusi,
that when we talk about Jake Krell playing, I don't know if I see a moment this next season where he's eating up 70 snaps a game. I think he's going to be more of a, hey, it's 3rd and 15. We know you can beat the guy in front of you. Go make a play.
I would put it more like this, if I were going to refine kind of what I said, is the skill that he still has to make gains in the weight room to be in every, a guy that does play that many snaps in a game, because you look at him compared to Danny Okoye, there's no there's no discussion. I mean, Danny Okoye looks incredible. But I think he's a guy like with some of his quickness and just ability and pass moves and things like that and his just technical aspect, I think that's where he's been the most surprising is that he's that far. When it was always like, in the way you described him, Josh, was, he's just his motor never stops and he's just a hard worker and he's going to find a way on the field. I'm not trying to like criticize you, but the way that you talked about him, like, and what I see from him is I see a guy that just has a ton of talent.
I think I want to say we talked about it because that was something Nagy hit on signing day, like that he kind of has this rep of like, he's a try-hard guy, and he is that. But he's also really gifted. Like, he's got a great first step. The thing, aside from, like, because, again, like, we all know the cliches. He's a white guy. He gets labeled as, like, try-hard.
Exciting whites.
All that. It just is what it is. But I also thought, just like as a pass rusher, he was so advanced. Like, the stuff he could do with his hand, like, it was unusual. And you could tell how good he was. And that's why, like, at camps, if he got the step on you, you were beat. Like there was nothing you could do with that kid, and he showed it at Under Armour too, where he had some really good days of practice against some really good guys. Now, like you're talking about, there were times when he ran against the Ianacho kid that's like 6'8", 350 that went to Oregon from Maryland. He is like once he got his hands on Jake couldn't. I mean, he's just enormous. There's nothing. There was no answer to it. So he's got to get bigger, stronger, know how to deal with that kind of problem. But if he can get a step on you, you're in trouble. Like there's not a lot you can do to answer him.
But outside of that, I mean, and the question was asked of a lot of guys on Monday, George, like, what do you think of this freshman class? Who stood out to you in this freshman class? And kind of the answer was, my God, there's so many guys in this freshman class that are already here. Like, it's hard for me to think of standouts versus non-standouts.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a few guys that are going to get some real playing time. I mean, I think Corral's going to play. I think that he's technically super sound, and I think he's a really smart guy. He also, Josh, you mentioned he needs to get bigger. He definitely does. I thought he looked really good, though, just standing with no pads on in the interviews. Like, his arms look really good. So I think he's going to play. With this new 9-game redshirt rule where guys can play up to 9 games now, I think you're just going to see a lot more freshmen on the field because they can use them on special teams and depth positions and things of that nature. Jonathan Hatton's going to play. I have no doubt about that. I think DeStephen Walker might get a chance to play some too. I've heard good stuff, Josh, about the two offensive linemen, Deacon Schmidt and Noah Best. I think, I'm not saying they're going to play. If they're playing, that means somebody's probably injured or something went wrong, but I wouldn't rule them out being backups. Like, I think they're right there.
But if one of the questions, like going into the spring, Josh, and I know that we talked about this on one of the previews, way back at the beginning of, or I guess at the end of March, if it was like identifying bodies that can give you depth on the offensive line, it certainly sounds like those two freshmen are going to be a part of that mold, at least the 2 deep, 3 deep for Oklahoma going into next year.
Guys, do you get any impression that kind of like what Carey was talking about, like that they've even been surprised with where Noah Best is? Like, it feels like that has caught some people off guard with, okay, he could steal a few snaps at center if we had to have it. Like if Michaela turned an ankle or something. Like, it feels like they feel better about that than they expected to.
I think it almost sounds like they're maybe not necessarily surprised, but pleasantly surprised that, and maybe it's more to do with what Noah Best has done versus like what Caleb Nita hasn't done, and a little bit of that is because he's been limited during the spring. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised at all if they entered the year where they're in a situation where Noah Best is your backup center going into next year.
I think it comes down to when you're talking about these young guys, and I've seen it for, I hate saying how long I've seen it for, but to me, it's about those young guys are going to get banged up. Do they know how to fight through that and, play through, being hurt versus being injured? Like, Josh, this, like guys like Jamal Brown, everybody's had to learn how to do that as they've, gone from being a youngster to a veteran. Like, I think Heath Ozide is probably, one of those guys, like he's learned how to do that. And some guys, never got past that stage. And I don't want to get a call from anybody's dad, but like a Jacob Sexton just had so many injuries. He never got to go from being, playing through pain and versus injury. Jake Taylor, I mean, there's a reason he's not here. I mean, those guys that can't learn how to play banged up end up not being someone that you can rely on.
Well, to me, Carey, that always feels like when you talk to guys who played, and obviously, at that level, by game 10, you have an injury. You're beat up somehow, somewhere. But to me, it feels like those guys learn how to, I don't know if a better way to say it, like kind of just cheated a little bit. Like how can I sneak a few snaps here on, like when I'm going to my right, when I've got to stretch to my right on an offensive line play, how do I get that little edge to make up the difference? Because I know I'm not as quick as I normally am because I've got a ankle or a hamstring or whatever it may be. So I agree. Like I think, and I struggle to put that on some guys, kind of like you mentioned, like with Jake Sexton, like he never got a chance to be healthy enough to learn that. Like it just,
all his problems were pretty major. Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
It's not on the offensive side, but like Jaden Jackson was just a guy that was built to play through injury. Like so much so that he can't even practice in the spring because he had so many off-season surgeries.
We need like a doll or something that we can just like label all the things that were wrong with Jaden Jackson at points last year and just like how like he just played through that crap. Like that.
I mean, turn to the other side.
On like one leg, wasn't he at times?
Yeah.
But turn to the other side. John Mateer played. I mean, think of all the stuff he played through last year.
Sure, that's part of football. Play through some injuries. You just hope that they're not catastrophic injuries like John had.
It's better when it's not your quarterback.
Yeah,
for sure. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen can kind of get away with some of that, but it's hard for corners sometimes, to get away with that, and the skill position guys, receivers.
The thing I would say, and I kind of was working on stories. We were talking about all the freshmen. Guys, I think there's a case that maybe this freshman group is maybe long-term is better, like as far as numbers and than the year before it, but maybe won't have the early impact because OU does return so much. There's so much there. There's not a lot of opportunities as you look around for this 27 group. Like there's not a lot of snaps at positions where, like even like Jake Krell, I mean, there's a lot they return at defensive end. They've got a lot they feel good about. It's hard for him to steal snaps. It says a lot that he can do it. You look at Jonathan Hatton even. Like, there's a lot of chance this spring, but is there going to be in the fall when you've got Blaylock and Robinson back healthy and going? There's just a lot coming back. So I really think people may come away after the 26 season and be like, oh, the freshman class didn't hit like maybe we hoped they would. I think it'll come in time. I just think it's not there yet. Like the chance just maybe not quite there.
I think out of all the positions, if everybody's healthy, the running back position could be. I'm not saying it is. This is not like inside info or intel or anything like that. But just because they're so talented, the young guys, that's the position where I could see somebody stealing somebody's job. And maybe it's a Jonathan Hatton stealing Xavier Robinson's carries.
I could see that.
Eddie doesn't believe me.
Well, I mean, Xavier Robinson needs to be healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks we've kind of forgotten about Torrey Blaylock a little bit in this entire
I don't think we've forgotten about him as much as like
he's just not healthy.
He's not been healthy, and
he provides
he's a
something,
solid player, but I think Jonathan Hatton's ceiling is just higher.
And I don't know about DeZeph Walker. I mean, he sure looks the part. I mean, but God, I thought what's his name that transferred to OSU looked the part.
Caleb Hicks.
Caleb Hicks, yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did look the part.
You were not wrong on that. But I would say, and it kind of fits. Like George mentioned, Cortland Guillory earlier. It's kind of the same narrative. There's a running back. He's getting snaps that he probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise. There's an injury in front of a freshman, and Cortland got all those snaps last spring, and it really springboarded him into a good summer, into a good fall, and all of a sudden he's a freshman All-American. I think the same is kind of there for Hatton. I mean, because he's getting a lot of snaps that he wouldn't have otherwise gotten.
He looks good. I mean, but, we've been through this before, and Jaden Ott looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, It's just the thing with running backs, and what's going to not suck, but what's hard about Saturdays, you want to go out there and you want to see those guys, but there's really not a situation where it's not life or death for those guys. It's not like, break through 3 tackles and get 10 yards or 8 yards when it should have been 3. Like, it's just they're not that intense out there. And the thing is, like, we've seen it over the years, Josh. Like, did we know we thought that Samaje Perine could be a really good back, like, but we didn't know he would be that good and still in the NFL. Like, you just don't know. I mean, it's just like the Caleb Hawkins kid that's now at Oklahoma State. Like, nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw Ahmed Hardy coming. I mean, starting out at Louisiana or wherever it was. And I mean, sometimes running back is just that position where it's really hard to tell. Not if a kid's going to be good, but if he's going to be a difference maker.
Wow. It just, for me, the entire running back conversation, it just goes back into an offensive line that I feel like from a starting group, I'm going to say this a billion times in between now and the beginning of the season. If they're what they think that they can be and what a lot of people feel like they're headed towards, they're going to be able to run the football. And I don't want to say it doesn't matter who's back there. It obviously matters. We've seen that. They've had some good running backs that couldn't get through the second level. But if you can just give them the leg up, I think that they have some guys that can break off some big runs.
Well, John Mateer said it Monday. He's like, we're out there running the ball and we're setting the edge. Like, you could tell that was something, and a lot of people have mentioned that. Just having that tight end room, having big guys that can block. Like, it's not just the offensive line, it's that room too that's going to make a difference.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a good point. I have to add to it.
We did talk to John Mateer on Monday. I thought it was a great media session. I thought Bowe Bentley was great too. But I don't know, what were the main takeaways for you guys? Just either Josh listening or talking to John Mateer on Monday.
I mean,
I'm leaving it to you guys. Go ahead. You were there. I feel like an imposter. Imposter.
I mean, I think it just that I think the stuff about his mechanics.
Yeah.
Not that it got overblown, but I do think like him coming out and saying that stuff on the first day of spring practice, it just has turned into this huge narrative. And I think that's all well and good, but to kind of hear him talk about it and say, hey, I'm not changing like my football instincts, which I do think probably a lot of people are like, you need to change those too and stop throwing interceptions. I don't think that's what he was saying. I think what he was trying to say is like, he's still going to try and be a playmaker. He's going to have some gunslinger in him, which I don't think you want to totally pull out of him, but it sounds like, at least from his perspective, he feels like he had a very productive spring. So I think that was the biggest takeaway, and it just sounds like he's more comfortable in what they're doing and the guys around him. I thought the offensive line stuff was interesting, the way that he said how much better that unit is. The wide receiver group, they've had a lot of guys out, but it sounds like they've been spending a lot of time in the film room. Like, he's saying all the right things. It all sounds great, but it's just hard to be like, okay, well, what does that look like? And I don't think we're going to know Saturday either. You want him to go out and play well in the spring game, but I think it's kind of one of those things where we just kind of have to wait and see.
I'm not concerned about, Eddie, I'm not concerned about the wide receiver room right now, but I will be if all those guys are sitting out a lot in the fall. Because he needs reps with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think that stuff will come in time. I mean, obviously, the way that he talked about Trell Harris, kind of tagging along with him to all of the, all the film reviews, all the film sessions and stuff. He talked about, also on Monday night that I think got a laugh out of a lot of people just talking about being up there on a Friday night until midnight, not having lives. I love that. I don't want you to have any life at Oklahoma. But no, like I think that they feel like this has been a really positive spring from top to bottom. Every position group, I think you could take a little something out of it, which, I think is probably happening across every campus across the country right now. But when you have I guess a starting point from where they're at, there needs to be some improvement. And just overall, we'll be excited to see, can Mackenzie Allen go make a couple plays on Saturday? That would be a positive in my book.
Yeah,
or a Manny Choice,
and Manny Choice,
or Jacob Jordan, or whoever.
To me, if you talk about receivers, like the way that John Mateer talked about Manny Choice is the most I can remember him praising a young receiver like that.
I think that the Manny Choice stuff too comes with a little bit more punch than Mackenzie Alene. And I know that kind of sounds bad because it probably is, kind of predetermined on what you thought those guys were going to be coming into the spring. I see the Manny Choice stuff as a positive, and that's on top of the way that Ben Arbuckle talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think, the Elijah Thomas not getting to practice as much, that's disappointing. But, I mean, we do know that Isaiah...
man will have to be in a wheelchair before I give up hope that he's going to be if you could just get Trell Harris, Isaiah Satania, obviously, Trell Harris, Parker Livingston, Manny Choice, and then just throw in an Elijah Thomas or a Jacob Jordan. I think you feel pretty good about that group going into the beginning of the year.
And I still think the freshmen, I think there's a chance Jasir Rogers or Jaden Petit.
Yeah.
Jasir Rogers made a couple plays that they've put out, like OU supplied the video and put out, that it's just like, oh.
I just feel like
he's a different athlete.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
My thing with the receiver group is we do this every year.
Sure.
Where we're like, man, they've got so many guys and we're listing all these guys.
This guy does that. This guy does that.
And then it's like either 4 guys play.
Yeah, or they all get injured like 2 years ago, or last year they just didn't play anybody else, and so we didn't even know if they had anybody else, which I do think looking back, and we've seen where some of the guys have ended up, that were in that receiver room, they didn't have a ton of talent, I don't think, or depth. And you think they'd have a little bit more this year. I will say, did you guys see Zion Reagan's?
I was getting ready. I was just waiting to pounce.
Spring game touchdown, MVP at Mississippi State.
I mean, that's the kind of thing. That's the shit that you're just like, okay, what's going on? Like,
yeah. But, I mean, to be fair, it's a spring game. Who knows? When
did that touchdown come? Was that at the end of the scrimmage?
I don't know.
Was it at the beginning of the scrimmage? Is he going against
I just saw the clip. I just saw the clip, and I was like, of course.
It's kind of like you guys were talking about, who was it? How Kyler Murray had a terrible spring game. And, there was...
Well, there's always a spring game hero.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean...
That never ends up being somebody
Micah
on the team.
Bowens to Jaden Gibson. How about that one? 90-yard touchdown.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
For every time that we deduct Carey for saying the wrong name, pulling a Micah Bowens is like a +5. So you're ahead of the curve right now.
Was it Marcelius Sutton that had like a 4 touchdown?
That was Dom Whaley.
Well, Dom Whaley had a good spring game, but I think
want to say Sutton had a pretty good spring game.
Sutton had
as well.
a good one, Carey, because you loved him. I remember, you were excited.
And he was good until he broke his leg.
Within reason.
Yeah, he was playing and he broke his leg.
He what was he tried to hurdle a guy at Iowa State?
I mean, he did hurdle him.
Yeah, but he got hurt doing it or something.
I don't remember that.
He broke his leg that game.
It was that game. Yes. Maybe it wasn't that hurdle, but it was that game. Yeah,
I remember that. 2018.
Josh, how about this name? This pull from the past, Jermaine Hardison. He would have the best day out of everybody.
I think Adrian Tennille had a couple big spring games as well.
Oh God.
Yep.
I think it's good.
I mean,
go ahead, Josh.
It's not quite the same story, but Deion Burks. Do we remember what that hype was like coming out of that spring game? He was going to be a first-team All-American.
With Arnold.
Everybody was just sure of it.
And Arnold looked great, and the offense, they were slinging it all over the field.
Here's the spring game you need to remember to know that none of this, and I'm not trying to crap on the spring game, but, and I know, it's you won't help yourself, and I won't blame you. You can't help yourself. I will not blame you for this, but you will come out with hot takes and you will come out with surefire analysis that makes you believe that this guy is what he is, what you see on Saturday. Just remember, before the 2015 season, Trevor Knight outdueled Baker Mayfield in the spring game, and it wasn't even really close.
I think the easiest way to put it, a spring game is informative. It is not predictive.
Sure.
Don't base all your thoughts on it.
But I would say, like, as much as we're probably going to shit on it over the next, 4 or 5 days, it's better to have the spring game than not have a spring game.
Yeah,
like
awful.
it's a perfect example of it's better to go through it than it is to not have it at all.
I mean, they knew it last year in the middle of that stupid combine. They were like, okay, we have to actually scrimmage. This is ridiculous. We can't have. I love Miguel Chavis. I'm not no shade, but having Miguel Chavis out there fielding punts is not what anybody came for.
But if that's a bonus on top of a game,
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Maybe a little halftime,
The
In
best
fact,
was when
I challenged Miguel Chavis.
the best was when Hollywood Brown raced that student
yeah,
at halftime.
Oh, yeah.
of the spring
that was
game.
good.
That was awesome.
That was good. And the weather, I think, is supposed to be really nice on Saturday, so good reason to get down to
The
Dortmund.
Friday night spring game though was all time.
Oh,
With
yeah.
Jalen Hurts, that was the best.
Except Eddie had to rush back from the Masters.
But it opened up Saturday of the Masters and ended up watching Tiger all day, even though there was a little bit of a rain delay that day. Still went to the Masters Darty. Shout out Alex Fuller. Used to host it.
Was that where you'd sing the national anthem?
It is. It is.
Maybe you could whistle it sometime.
I'm a good whistler, but that guy at the Baltimore Orioles game the other night, I think we'll just let him do that. He can take the cake on that one.
By the way, either of you guys trying to go on Sunday to the or you wait until it really matters?
The playoffs.
The playoffs?
Probably not. It's just a little too expensive for game one of the first round. I might save my money for Western Conference Finals or something.
Yeah, I'm more of a finals, any
Yeah.
type of finals guy. But I'll go if somebody wants to invite me. Actually, I won't on Sunday because of OU baseball, but I'm excited for the playoffs. It definitely, I think George and I were talking about this the other day. It definitely, like, just driving around downtown, maybe it's because of the weather a little bit and just knowing what time of the year it is. It does feel, there's a feel of it. Like OU Texas has a feel that week. I think playoffs around these parts has a little bit of a feel, and obviously very excited about the start of a world title defense.
This moment in Oklahoma City history right now, and I know this is not OU football, but, like, just soak it in. Because, like, you are, defending world champions. The world of the NBA has to come to your door in Oklahoma City. The city. I mean, the
nice
playoffs.
time.
The playoffs have been special every time that they've gone, and they put up all the signage and change things around, and it's like Christmas, but for sports.
I don't know what it feels like to grow up in like a like a Wagner, Oklahoma, the week of the state championship. I would imagine that has a certain level of a vibe. I just think that, like, it's a very small town high school football feel for the NBA
The whole
playoffs.
thing shuts down around that.
Just like the signs in the, downtown Oklahoma City. I don't know if you would walk up to any street corner in Manhattan and see that for the Knicks. And I like that.
Maybe someday all the trees around the new arena will be fertilized by human remains. Shout out Casey Murdoch out there.
I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
this is
I don't know
this is
what
a
that
thing
means.
going on the board right now. So, shout out to the Scoopers for your
Well,
wonderful
with-
topics. I guess, like, I don't.
Maybe with Liv pulling out of, with the Saudi Public Investment Fund pulling out of Liv, they'll have plenty of bodies to be able to spread across the country, and specifically downtown.
Okay, so a little sidetrack there. Sorry. Outside of that, let's talk about Bowe Bentley for a second, because I thought, talking to him, it was kind of just a look into the window of what it's been like for Bowe Bentley. I think, he doesn't come out of the spring from talking to him like feeling like, okay, I got this, I can do. Like, he seems to be pretty humble about the entire experience. He admits that he's been, even Ben Arbuckle or was it Kuzieski that was talking about? He can tell his head's swimming a little bit at times.
I think they both talked about it a little bit.
But not discouraged. I didn't feel like there was any kind of discouragement from Bowe. Like, he kind of was prepared to know that this was going to be a learning experience for him. And to be honest, we go out there and watch practice, and he's asking a lot of questions. There was one day we were out there, and Ben Arbuckle spent the entire kind of between session break just talking to him and They were both very animated, so he seems to take the coaching and thrive on that. But I would say that this was a successful first spring for Bowe Bentley, just judging by talking to him the other day.
Anytime that you get on campus early, I think that there's going to, and especially with like the, the praise or whatever he brought with him from Salina and leading them to a state championship as a junior, kind of reestablishing Salina as a football power in the state of Texas, I guess, if you will. I think there's a lot of expectation that comes with it, and he knows that. I think it's kind of interesting, just kind of comparing to the way that Jackson Arnold would talk to us back in the day. He seems a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if that's like just reading into something that's absolutely not there, but we'll see. I mean, I'm kind of excited, much like George said on one of the YouTube shows this week. I'm excited to just see him toss the ball around a little bit because I did not see him in high school like you guys did, Carey and Josh, or at least, even seeing him throw down at a spring game. So I'm excited to just kind of see if he can navigate the offense, and we'll see, because you never know if he's going to be put into his position next year where he's going to have to go out there and execute and convert a third down at the big house or wherever, barring some type of injury to John.
Josh, is your biggest curiosity just seeing if that accuracy that he was so well known for translates to college receivers?
It is, and that's something I've heard a few people say, and it was one of the things that I thought he was really good at in high school, and it's something that, I don't know, like some people talk about, and I don't think it gets enough credit sometimes you talk about quarterbacks, is layering throws. Like he was so good at, he could work over a linebacker, under a safety, that kind of stuff, and I thought he was really good at that and really had a good feel for, okay, I'm going to throw a comeback here. Like there was just a good, not only the physical ability, but the rapport with his receivers. Like, okay, we're going to snap this route off. We're going to do something a little different here. I thought the communication was always really good, whether it was, hand signals, verbal, or just they had an understanding of what they were going to do. It sounds like that's carried over. I've heard good stuff, and it sounds, you guys obviously, are talking straight to the source even more than I am, but there is, like, my impression is that he has picked it up a little quicker than they thought. Like he's progressing well.
This is way too early, but it's just, I can't shake the feeling when we're talking to him the other day. Like, I feel like this is OU's chance. And I don't know how similar it is, but they have some of the same traits, but it's almost like this could be like the payback for Rhett Bomar. Like the type of quarterback, not the tallest guy in the world, but nice arm, nice accuracy, can run a little bit. And look, OU's had Baker and Kyler and all that sense and Jalen Hurts, but like just that type of player.
He does have Bomar vibes.
I feel like
what he looks
like Bomar was a shithead, even,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think Bowe Bentley's a shithead.
No, if Bowe Bentley lost the starting quarterback job, he wouldn't come over and just start railing on everything. Which that was a tough moment because, like, that was back in the day. George, you wouldn't believe this. Like, we would be out there watching practice, and we would just grab players as they were leaving the practice field. Like, we didn't have to wait for it, just one-on-ones, like left and right. But of course,
that's
everybody
how NFL is. But
everybody,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. You have experienced some, a lot.
But
like that.
To do that in college, I didn't.
But that's what it used to be like, and you didn't have anybody like wrangling people. You could just grab whoever. You go sit down, they'd take their cleats off, and I remember sitting, on a bench with Jamal Brown, and he was taking his cleats off. And we were talking about Dragon Ball Z, like for 10 minutes, like just you could do whatever you wanted. But they named Paul Thompson, like you could tell at the end of the practice because we were like, while Bob Stoops is sitting there talking to people. The team's huddled around him, and you could tell that they just announced that Paul Thompson was going to be the starting quarterback. And nobody really rushed to talk to Paul Thompson. They wanted to hear Rhett Bomar's side of it because, Josh, you remember this. Like, remember when Jason White announced he was coming back for the extra year and Jerry Bomar, went off and, he went off to me and it was one of those moments that wasn't regrettable. It was one of those things like, I'll call Jerry Bomar and see what he thinks about this because all he was talking about was how he wanted to play, as a freshman, play all 4 years. And that was kind of the big I don't know. That was like their talking point about everything. And but anyway, so Rhett Bomar comes off the field, and they ask him, like right after he's been stabbed in the heart and told he didn't win the job. And I can't remember exactly what was said, but like that's the stuff that would never happen in this day and age. And I don't get a sense that Bowe Bentley has a bone in his body like that is just kind of pissy and says what he wants and is a little selfish.
I can't help but notice that Eddie has been a bit of a fan of Jamison Roberts, who will follow him in the recruiting class. Kind of a tall, ganglier quarterback, hasn't quite filled out yet. Maybe we're going to see history repeat itself. Although, again, you do want to be very careful of Bentley and Bomar comparisons because they are very different human beings. But maybe it's the guy that everybody overlooked, and Eddie's going to be right again with probably not quite the same relationship with Jamison Roberts as Sam Bradford.
Sure. I think Bowe Bentley's going to win like 7 Heisman, so
okay,
that's going to be after
then
John Mateer wins 2 this year.
That's after OU figures out that the local judge will give them as many years as they want for their players.
Yeah, Judge Balkman, shout out.
Big day tomorrow.
Big day tomorrow.
It is a big day tomorrow.
Real quick, did all of that – now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't all of the open media stuff – did that come to an end after a Diana Rossini type event back in like early 2000s?
I'm trying to think what would be a comparable like on the OU beat back then. Like what would be? I don't even want to get into this.
Yeah, maybe don't go there.
I thought it was something to do with hail. That maybe not.
See, that's what I was trying to avoid.
Maybe not. I completely got that story wrong then. That's my fault. It is a big day tomorrow, though, for Owen Heinecke and Judge Balkman. George is our court reporter.
And I want to give a shout-out to George. You've been killing this story. It's one of the reasons
he kills it. He might end up in prison.
It's one of the reasons that we wanted you here in the first place, and you're proving your worth again and again. But this time, you've just dominated this story from beginning to end. If you haven't seen it, George has got a big story up this morning. With all the documentation that's been produced into the court filing system and everything that you need to know leading up to this thing, what's going to happen, not what's going to happen, but how it's going to happen tomorrow. But it's probably going to be a very long day tomorrow.
Yeah, there's been so much filed, and like Carey said, you can go and I wrote a story, and you can read every single filing that has come out. I've uploaded them all to Soonerscoop.com. If you're a lawyer out there and want to read through all that. But I do think it's going to be a long day. It starts at 8:30. The judge is allowing media to come in and cover the event, so I'll be live tweeting and posting on the board updates throughout the day of what's being said and the testimonies. I'm very curious about those, and obviously Brent getting up there and Jim Nagy and JJ Tapana, who I actually – he's the head coach at Bishop Kelly High School. He taught, I played football at Bishop Kelly, so I played for him, but he also taught a couple classes that I took. So it'll be interesting to see him
what
up
classes?
There. Government.
Wow.
He's ready. He's versed.
Was he a coach, teacher, or was he like actually making you guys do work?
He was a coach teacher for sure. But we did have to take, I do remember his class was the one that we had to take the U.S. citizenship test. That was like part of passing the class is you had to take the U.S. citizenship test and pass it. So
would you get kicked out of the country if you failed it?
No, I did. I got 100% though. I remember that. It's like 50 questions and I got 100. But so there you go. Anyways, it'll be interesting. And I think the thing that I'll say about the Heinecke case, and a lot of it's been put out there and I've tried to explain it best I can. The filing that was posted this week, I think, I'm not going to say it's a smoking gun. I know some people have referenced it as that. I do think that it could play a significant role in the hearing. And the reason for that, and feel free to jump in and ask me any questions about it, but they put in a file that shows a case back in October that's very similar to Owen's, in which a female student athlete started her career playing volleyball, transferred to another school to play basketball. Now, She was given a 6th year of eligibility, and part of that is she did have a COVID year, which they had given to her. She redshirted as well, but they gave her another year on top of those, and it's a very similar circumstance to Owen's. And why that's important is when Owen filed his petition to the NCAA, which was denied, the 2 reasons why the NCAA said that they did not give him his petition, why they didn't give him another year, is 1, he didn't provide past evidence, like cases that were similar to his that the NCAA had approved previously, and he did not establish that he was denied 2 years or 2 participation opportunities during his collegiate career. This filing proves both of those wrong. 1, it's a case in which is very similar to Owen's that was not provided or was not uploaded to the database for OU to cite in his petition. So that knocks out that part. And then the second part, in the case, which I've read of the female athlete, she also did not provide, they specifically say she did not provide, 2 examples or 2 participation opportunities that were denied, but they were still going to give her the extra year because of the totality of the argument. So both of the NCAA's reasons for denying his petition have kind of been disproved by this filing. So I'm very curious how Judge Balkman views that.
It's just so amazing to me that like stuff like that isn't filed, and how it kind of trickles down to where somebody like Owen Heinecke, and this is like not just Owen Heinecke, singularly. This is like a bigger NCAA issue of like how many other people have been fucked over because a court filing wasn't put into the computer system.
And I want to be clear too, Balkman, he can view this any way he wants, but part of what Owen's legal team is trying to say is they're not just trying to come in and say, well, we think the lacrosse redshirt rule is bullshit or the NCAA rules are bullshit. What Heineke's legal counsel is essentially trying to do is show, hey, it's inconsistent. The NCAA is inconsistent in how they apply their rules and how they view these eligibility petitions. And we believe that Owen was not, rightfully considered for this extra year of eligibility for X, and X, right? And so I think that they've done a pretty good job so far in these filings of kind of stacking that argument. Now it's up to them in court tomorrow to kind of continue to prove that, have the testimonies. I think the COVID stuff is going to be a big part of what they asked JJ Tapana about, because he wrote a letter saying, hey, if he had been, have a regular year, wasn't hurt his senior year, and wasn't playing during the COVID season, he would have been recruited by much higher schools and would have had a better opportunity. I think the lacrosse stuff is going to be brought up, and the injuries that he had, Ohio State not having walk-on tryouts for the football team, all of that's going to be brought up, as well as just how the NCAA viewed this case. So I also think it's curious. They're going to have, and I was talking to Eddie about this, I think, they're bringing up the OU Director of Compliance, who his name is slipping my mind right now, but he's going to testify, and I think he might be the most important testimony that goes tomorrow, because everybody's asked, like, why didn't OU...
Would Jason Leonard not been in charge then?
It's not Jason Leonard.
It was a name that I was not familiar with, to be completely honest with you.
I can find it, but...
You keep going and I'll look for it.
Yeah. So anyways, they're going to bring him up, and I think it's very interesting because a lot of people have said, why didn't he get a medical hardship in 2022?
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 40% off, plus up to $500 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung. Get a fridge with 0 clearance hinges, so the doors open fully even in tighter spaces in your kitchen. And laundry that saves you time, like an all-in-one washer dryer that can run a full load in just 68 minutes. Shop Spring Black Friday savings, plus get free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more at the Home Depot. Offer valid April 9th through April 29th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs, so you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Because if he had, then none of this would be an argument. He'd have the extra year. It wouldn't matter. He wouldn't have had to burn his red shirt that season. I kind of wonder if there's a chance OU compliance says, yeah, we might have dropped the ball on that. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but I am curious, like, what are they bringing him up there to talk about? Is it the petition to apply for another year? Is it, hey, this is what happened in 2022 and why he didn't get a medical hardship or why we didn't apply for one? I think that could be really important because when you bring up Brent Venables, he's going to talk about Owen's character and how great he is and all of that stuff and his story. Nagy's going to get up there and tell you that, hey, nothing's guaranteed that he's going to make it in the NFL, and if he came back, his stock would improve, and that'd be all the irreparable harm. And Tapana's going to talk about the high school stuff and recruitment and all that. But I'm very curious when they bring up the director of compliance, what he has to say.
Brady Newville.
Yeah, Brady Newville. So I don't know. It's just something that I keep an eye on when he gets up on the stand tomorrow. I'm curious. So I don't know. I honestly, I joked with you guys. I took all the filings and documents and put them into Claude AI. Mm-hmm. And was just like, read through this and tell me what's going to happen. And it gave Owen Heinecke a 65% chance of winning. I then sent it to Grok on X, and it also said about 60% chance of winning for Heinecke. And then I sent it to ChatGPT, which said it was a toss-up. So take that for what you will, AI.
I'm going to have to get George his own room with his Mac Mini that's hooked up to Claude, that's not hooked up to the internet. So I love
Claude.
He doesn't get us turned into Skynet somehow.
Shout out. The AI stuff's crazy. I mean, it read through that stuff. Again, I don't know if you can take any of it worth of substance.
How's your prompting?
My what?
Your prompting.
What do you mean?
Like what you put in, then it spits out the information for you, what you're telling it to do?
Yeah, I just ask a question, and it just tells me the answer. But I'm not building, like, websites on there. Just asking it, like, basic information.
The Matrix is what you're doing.
No, but I don't know. I think it's ultimately, again, it's going to come down to how Balkman views some of this. I think Heineke's legal team has done an excellent job. I think Mary Quinn Cooper, his legal counsel, is about as good as you could get in the state of Oklahoma. Probably the best lawyer for this type of thing, and she's won a lot of cases. So I think he's in good hands. I just
like you said,
never know.
It just comes down to the judge's decision when it's all said and done. And the NCAA will be represented by the same people that have represented them
Chambliss.
Throughout.
And they have a lawyer from
Aguilar and all that
from Tulsa. I believe he's from Tulsa that is helping them with this. But I also don't know like how much the NCAA is actually going to talk in this. Like the Chambliss case, they didn't get up and just push back on a lot of stuff. They just kind of let it play out. I don't know if that'll be the case for this.
Yeah, and I was saying like the other day, like I would think the last thing the NCAA wants is to go into basically as a visitor into a home stadium and be argumentative with people because it would just make them look bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, and they're arguing against an athlete that wants to continue playing their sport. Like it's just it's a weird look.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they're doing it. I do, but like it's not something they can really come out on the upper hand or come out with the upper hand.
And I think that the Owens lawyers did a really good job of replying. Last week we talked about the rebuttal, and I thought the NCAA's rebuttal was really strong. Well, I think Owens lawyers came back with a really strong rebuttal to the rebuttal and kind of poked some holes in what the NCAA was saying, especially the part where the NCAA, a big part of their argument is that Heinecke is not a third-party beneficiary to the NCAA, which is, from my perspective, is totally not true. I mean, I think all student athletes are a beneficiary of the NCAA and the institution that is the University of Oklahoma. So I didn't really understand that part, and I think his legal team kind of poked that hole. So I don't know. I kind of think he's going to get it, but if you told me he didn't, it wouldn't shock me either. So
yeah.
They're at least getting to the point where it's like they're doing it. That's the point I wanted to see, because I felt like they were leaving a lot of like meat on the bone, if you will, of just like throwing your hands up. Like when we left Pro Day and Owen talked to the media, it's like, he has this out. Like, why not use it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah. No, you're fine. In George and all your lawyerly learnings here over the last week or two, are they compelled to send these rebuttals? Like, is that something they have to do, or is that just something they want to get the argument out in front of the public.
I think that they want to get it out in front of the public. And part of it is also, though, Josh, just giving more to the judge to consider. Because the last thing you want to do is, let the NCAA get the last word before the hearing in terms of the rebuttal. Like if they just let it sit there and didn't have some sort of reply kind of arguing, Owen's side of things, that could have, again, it could have gone the other way. And I will say this, the reply was really strong, but this filing that they put out there, and I put out there this week about the other case of this female student athlete, I kind of think, I don't know this, but I do wonder if Heinecke's legal counsel has been holding on to that. I think that that's been something that they're like, we're going to drop this a couple days before the hearing because it is a big piece of the puzzle. Again, I don't know how Balkman will exactly see that, but it does really poke some holes in what the NCAA decided to do with his petition, and it kind of opens the door to be like, wait a second, did the NCAA do their full, diligence on this, this exact petition for another year of eligibility? So I don't know. It's fascinating. It's going to be a long day, though. I'm pretty sure it's going to go all day. I do expect a decision by the end of the day on Thursday. We'll see how quickly that is. But like I said, I'll be there. There's no video. It's funny. I will tell you guys this. ESPN approached Balkman about live broadcasting the hearing. Uh-huh. And Balkman turned it down. So there will be no live stream of watching. It would have been kind of cool if it was on ESPN Plus or something, but it will not be. It would be awesome. You had like commentators on there or something.
I was going to be a color analyst on that. I was going to be a legal analyst. It was me, Nancy Grace, and I don't know who they were going to get to do the play-by-play. Maybe Toby Rowland.
That'd have been awesome. But they turned that down.
Like you two and Feinbaum, like just on a big stand at the back of the court.
That'd be fine.
Just doing it.
Take Paul to BM tomorrow night or something.
Maybe you'd get a Joe Judge type witness up there talking about.
There's still an opportunity of that. There's still an opportunity.
I do think Eddie and I need to. Eddie and I definitely need to do a stand up on the steps of.
Hell yeah!
Of
tomorrow,
Cleveland County.
We'll be reporting live.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is one of those unique crossover events. I wonder if the news channels are going to send news reporters.
I think there's a chance.
Hell yeah! Happens. I love that. I love when that happens because it's like two worlds that just don't ever cross each other.
They spend all their time at courthouses around murderers.
Well, they just view the stuff so differently.
Differently.
It's just,
they don't have a bedside manner. It's just the news. Just the news.
You know who else didn't have a bedside manner?
God,
George would have liked that Dateline we watched yesterday.
It was a good one. It's a very good one.
If you guys are going to do it, can you do the old 90s style court proceedings expose where they're walking crossways down the stairs, the stairs?
Oh yeah.
Just kind of and here inside the Oklahoma County Courthouse.
Oh yeah.
That's what we need.
Definitely.
Actually, what we need is Keith Morrison to narrate it. I wonder how much that'd cost.
Well, the only problem with that is when Keith shows up, usually someone's dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that we necessarily want to.
Murder reporters, he doesn't get out of bed for
one of the
NCAA eligibility narration.
One of the great Instagram accounts is Keith leaning on things, and it's just clips from every Dateline ever, and he always is leaning on something. You'll never not see it now if you're a big Dateline guy like myself.
Bill Hader's fascination with Keith Morrison is one of my favorite things. His impersonation is spot on. No, George, this week will be great for you when you finally give up on journalism and go to law school.
No part of me wants that. And to be honest, a lot of what I'm saying, I've read between the lines. I've talked to some people that have broken it. I've had to call people and be like, please explain to me this like I'm 5 years old. I have no desire to do that or cover anything like this ever again. So
I think based on that alone, from some of the lawyers that I know, I think you got half the bit.
Yeah,
it's just acting like you know what you're doing.
But you're now the Sooner Scoop legal expert, so congratulations, George.
Yeah, 100%.
I am excited for it to be over.
And I mean, I think the ultimate outcome of what everybody wants is obviously Owen Heinecke returning and playing football at Oklahoma next year. We haven't really talked a whole lot about the defense and what we want to see tomorrow, but I know we talked about Jake Crail. I'm kind of excited just to see a number of these guys out there on Saturday, whether it be a Cole Sullivan, Trent Wilson, Nigel Smith, just guys that it feels like are going to play huge parts in this defense. And we're going to feature them on today's YouTube practice report. I love talking to Jeremiah Newsom. Newcomb on
Newsom.
What was that, Monday? Who is Jeremiah Newsom? I think that is somebody.
I think you've
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom's always on the mind. He's having a really good month. But Jeremiah Newcomb, I'm very excited to just see how he fits into everything. Obviously, he was going to play a little bit before he got hurt last year. But, Josh, we talked to him yesterday just about like his knowledge from a football IQ standpoint. I think he's a very advanced player. And obviously coming up, Coach's son played quarterback, knows the other side of the football. I'm just really excited about Jeremiah Newcomb's role in Oklahoma's defense.
Well, before I add anything, I wanted to, in that interview, if people haven't watched it, Jeremiah Newcomb talks about being at 195 and he wanted to get to 205. And he said, I lose, it's hard for me to keep weight on, or I lose weight really easily, or something along those lines. And I wanted to give it up to the entire media pool for not going with the dad joke of I wish I had that problem, or I was waiting for it. I was waiting for somebody to drop that in, and nobody did it. So congratulations to everyone who was around Jeremiah Newcomb at that moment. But no.
I think the media pool is either old people or young people these days. There's not a whole lot of dads in the crowd.
Okay.
The dad jokes are at a minimum.
Yeah, because I had a knee jerk of and I was like, well, that didn't happen, so that's great. I'm really happy for everybody. But no, I agree. I like what he brings again, and if you can find whoever can be the heavy, and I know with the Taylor Heim news, that changes what that's going to look like, and we've talked about maybe Owen Heinecke if he does get his year, if that could be something that makes sense. But I like Newcomb in coverage. He's one of those guys that if somebody is trying to attack OU with, putting, let's say Alabama's trying to line Ryan Williams up with Reggie Powers over and over and over again. And that's not to say that Reggie can't handle that job. It's just, that's a lot to ask consistently of him, that you have a guy like Newcomb who does have a lot of coverage experience, can handle that a little bit more naturally. It's just another kind of feather in your hat for what they can be defensively, and can throw some different looks at some offenses.
Maybe a stupid question. Is there any concern that they don't have enough height at the cheetah position? I just think of Kendall Daniels, obviously. Isaiah Simmons was a pretty big guy, right? Mm-hmm. From a height standpoint. Is that a problem? I would imagine if we asked Brent, he would say no.
That's why the Heinecke thing I think is interesting, because could a Heinecke play some cheetah? Could Cole Sullivan play cheetah?
Do you think they would move Heinecke out, or would it be Cole Sullivan?
I don't know. That's my question. I have no idea, but I think either one of those guys could. I think
could Marcus James play cheetah?
Could Kip Lewis?
Yeah.
I think Marcus James fits. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why getting Heinecke back would be so big.
Do they start working James Nesta there a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I think
he's
James
almost
Nesta is
too
more
big.
yeah,
too
he's
big.
Too heavy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you necessarily want him having to turn and run with somebody. Not to say that he couldn't do it.
I just haven't seen it. I haven't paid enough attention of him.
What is Owen Heinecke listed at?
Probably 6'1".
I bet he's 6'1.5", maybe. I mean, he's tall. He's definitely taller than I am.
I definitely think what I'm saying to say is I don't know who would play cheetah, but if they get Heinecke back, I think there's definitely some situations where
it gives them some options,
where Heinecke, Sullivan, and Lewis are all on the field at the same time.
Well, it's like we said. I think it was when you kind of broke the story that he was going to go through the injunction through the hearing. I think that getting Owen Heinecke back is the difference between this team still being pretty good defensively. Don't get me wrong. But maybe being back to that level where they were a year ago, and even beyond that, if you can get him back. I think he is a very integral piece of this. And Judge Balkman needs to know that tomorrow.
I wonder, one thing that we haven't really mentioned, other than it's a competition, it might. I could see them maybe putting the punters out there a little bit more tomorrow in front of a crowd, just seeing what that looks like.
The punters?
Punters, yeah. I know we're getting into the weeds here.
No. I think it's an underrated topic. I think it's going to be Jacob Ulrich who ends up being the starter.
Wow.
Sure.
That's more of a guess than anything.
I think that
well, let's face it. If the offense is better than it was a year ago, we don't care.
Yeah,
so
you
much
don't care
about
who's
the
punting.
punters.
But I do think that
But it was a
when you
big
get
part of that team last year.
It was also a big reason why they lost.
When you get into the playoffs against really, really good teams, I think that we saw the other side of it when Grayson Miller was hitting the ball really well. It's a big deal for this defense, and especially if it's a really good defense, of being able to pin a team back, get field position, especially when the weather gets bad, especially if you're playing in Norman in a playoff game. Like, I think that it's an important thing. To say that I'm going to be concerned about it on April 18th would be an absolute lie.
All right, we are deep into the show here, and it's a big recruiting weekend. Josh, I know you even had the scoop was a little late putting stuff together. What are the bullet points here? What's the big news to look forward to this weekend as far as recruiting goes?
Yeah, it's going to be like we talked a little bit about last week. It's a solid weekend. It's not like some of the spring games we've seen where it's, 60, 70 guys and it's crazy. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be a lot of their commitments in 2027 and then a few kind of interesting guys. Like there are some names. Actually, one of the ones that our guy Steve Wiltfong dropped in the story, and to be perfectly fair to Steve, I hadn't heard this name, is a Cooper Onmocht, a safety from Kansas that is going to be on campus. He's a 27 guy. Like I had it in my head. I'd heard the name, but I thought Cooper was a 2028 guy. And so I don't know how to read that exactly, like what exactly that tells me. Because obviously I've said all along, I kind of think it's a two-man safety class with Bodie Sparrow and Jalen Scott already committed. But they're bringing him in. He does not have an offer. He's got some good offers like Iowa, Kansas State, Penn State. So, I mean, there's some good programs involved with this kid. And again, I haven't confirmed it with him, but Steve reported this morning that he would be on campus. So that's kind of an interesting twist in 27 to kind of keep an eye on. Might be one of those guys that you say, Josh, who's going to get an offer this weekend? That might be the first guy I would think of. And then in 28, you've got a lot of the names that I think you would want to see on. I mean, we talked about Keanu Snipes, Reagan Smith, who we talked about last week, the big linebacker. His teammate, OU's actually made 2 offers at Pflugerville Weiss in their linebacker room. Tylen Henderson was at OU on Monday. So there is, I guess maybe they could sell those guys on being linebacker teammates at Oklahoma. So there's a lot of guys, and again, I don't want to sit here and just read the list, but it doesn't feel like this is going to be a splashy weekend like we saw on Future Freaks with a bunch of commitments and that kind of stuff. But I do think this is kind of a chance for the class of 27 to get a little more familiar, kind of get a little more start to build those bonds that maybe when some of these schools start coming back around, you have that relationship with the guy that's going to be in your room, or you may know who your future roommate is. And it changes the way these guys look at some of these overtures from other schools.
All right. I'm sure we'll have tons after the weekend and all throughout next week.
Post-game pod?
Post-game pod, yes. We'll be back with the post-game pod.
We'll have, obviously, instant reaction, all that kind of stuff up on the YouTubes.
Yeah, and plenty of footage. Like we said, it's not going to be broadcast, so you want to check out the website, check out the sights and sounds, and it should be a lot of fun. I'll be down there shooting. Eddie will be down there shooting. George Bob in the press box. So it's always a weird press box for the spring game.
Can't say I've been up in the last couple of years.
It just seems like it's, I don't know.
No one's paying attention.
It's kind of how
it
goes.
I mean, I am, but I think there's
people just don't pay attention. I've never been up there for the spring game.
I think it's just not a.
It just feels kind of like a ghost town.
I mean,
regular.
Not nearly as many people in there either.
For the Alabama game in the playoff, that was the first time I'd been up in the press box since before COVID.
That's the most packed
It was packed up there.
The Michigan game was pretty packed.
Was it?
And Tennessee a year ago in 2024. But
sure.
I think the Alabama playoff game was the most people I've ever seen in the press box.
Do we want to talk about any hoops? OU women have had a nice little portal haul here, George.
Yeah, they got Keely Parks from Kansas, former 5-star, Norman High standout. They missed out on her last year out of high school. They finished second in her recruitment. She went to Kansas. I think she got hurt, and she was coming off the bench. She only averaged 5 points per game, but she's a good player, like a really, really good player, and I think can help Oklahoma. I don't think she's a starter probably for OU. I think she's more of a bench player. Maybe she ends up starting with Zaya Van gone. But good pickup. And then Jordan Spicer, really good pickup. Number 16 player in the country a year ago. Came off the bench for K-State and was really good for him. 10 points per game. She's a sharpshooter. I kind of like what they've done so far with both of the additions. Like, both girls can really shoot the basketball, and I think that was an emphasis for them in the portal was let's get some really good shooting around Chavez. They still need to go get a big.
Yeah.
And I'm curious where that's going to be. There was some talk about them being involved with Audie Crooks. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Thank God.
I think OU and several other schools kind of passed on Audie Crooks. So I don't know where they go. But
I wonder if that's a situation if the number came down, if people will get more interested.
Yeah,
or
possibly.
Re-interested.
Possibly. I didn't know this, Carey. Iowa State was top 60 in the country in pace of play last year. Like, they were an up-tempo basketball team, Iowa State was.
Maybe that's why she didn't play any defense. She didn't have anything left.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently OSU is going after her now, which OSU is suddenly going after all the best players.
Liv McGill. I do think that with the Jordan Spicer and Keely Parks, it is a good representation of they didn't come here. They recruited them out of high school, and it's just another example of not burning bridges and good relationships in the recruiting process.
Yeah, and it's interesting too from that perspective of they now join Chavez, who was one of the top, depending on where you looked. I think ESPN had her the number 3 best player in her class, and then Keziah Lofton and Brooklyn Stewart were both top 100 players as well. So they have 5 top 100 players from that class. I mean, it's a young and talented group. It's just, can they gel? What does that look like? And they need to go get a veteran big girl that can kind of be the quote-unquote Reagan Beers replacement. On
the men's side of things, too, OU did pick up a commitment from 6'10", 215, Connie Ruths out of Louisville. He has 2 years left of eligibility. I remember him a little bit playing for Louisville this year. And, I don't know how you judge this, but it certainly seemed like the Louisville fan base wanted to keep him. So I think it was a good pickup.
Watching his highlights, he looks like Jalen Moore.
Okay. Yeah, like maybe just a really athletic big. Yeah. Obviously a little bit taller than Jalen Moore was. But, yeah, I think that was a good pickup. I think more than anything, getting a guy like a Xavier Brown to, commit or recommit, say he's not going anywhere, that's a good retention piece. And we'll see if they can get some of these bigger fish. I know that Bob's reported about the Mimgo brothers that have been on campus. If they could get both of those guys, I'm not saying I'm back in, but I'm also not saying that I'm out.
I will say word on the street is that Illinois is getting involved in that.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, those are 2 of the best players in the portal.
I don't know if
their last names are too normal.
I don't know if OU can.
I think are they from Eastern Europe?
Well, for every Eastern European player, they do have the Wagler kid that was a freshman from America, so they got to fill the American.
Maybe Josh, maybe they a little bit. Maybe they have some human trafficking experience, so that's why they're interested.
Okay, sure.
The what the brothers? What's their name?
Oh, the Wimgos?
Yeah,
I don't know if they're. Yeah, I don't think
so.
Is
it not Mingo?
Mingo. What did I say? Wimgo?
You keep saying
Mingo.
Mingo.
Mingo, Wingo. I'll learn their names if they come to Oklahoma.
I would assume it's Mingo.
By the way, kind of sad that Reagan Beers wasn't drafted. I did see she signed a training camp contract.
Oh, did she? I didn't see that.
The Connecticut Sun.
Okay. Who's eventually going to be going to Houston, so maybe she's going to be staying around here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if she made a roster, but she's going to have to get better defensively. I think that was kind of her knock.
Yeah. Diamond Sports real quick. We'll start with baseball and then we can end with softball. They got a Bedlam experience tonight at Devon Park. Baseball, really good weekend in Nashville. Come back, it felt like a turning point of the season type of weekend. So we'll see if they can continue that good fortune into this weekend with Missouri coming to town.
I mean, you convinced them that they weren't going to have to play last night, so they weren't ready.
Well, that was complete bullshit that they played in a driving rainstorm for 7 innings. But who knows? OU might have come back. Jackson Willits had just hit a 3-run homer. There was no outs in the 8th, but they do lose technically to Oklahoma State on Tuesday night up in Tulsa. So they end up 1-1 against the Pokes. I think that there's an outside decent chance that they end up going to the same regional if Oklahoma State makes a region. And then, I thought baseball, though, last weekend, that was a huge series in Vanderbilt to come back from what they did on Thursday night.
What do they need to do to host?
Just keep winning series. I mean, their RPI is great. It's just going to be dependent upon if they can get some of these. I think that, like, usually if you're like 16, 17, 18 wins in conference play, you're in real good consideration, especially in the SEC. It'll just depend on kind of what everybody else does, but most importantly, taking care of themselves and winning some conference series, which
I would go even more
really
micro
tough.
And just say throw strikes when you come in relief.
That would definitely help. That would definitely help. The effort.
The bats seem to be coming around, though, a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they only had 4 hits last night, but again, like when you hit the ball the way that they did over the weekend, I thought, like, more importantly, specifically with guys like Kyle Branch had 2 RBI singles in the rubber game on Saturday. Dayton LaChance hit 2 home runs last week in his first 2 in a Sooner uniform. Camden Johnson had the 7 RBI night on what was that, Friday night in the second game when they blow a 5-run lead in the top of the first. And just like all of the antics in between, like Toby going down and interviewing the Vandy Whistler and then Camden Johnson hitting a game-tying grand slam while he's doing the interview. It's just like one of those like super like OU baseball moments that I feel like not a whole lot of people recognized because there's a very strong, small fan base, but I think the people that know need to know. So it was just a fun weekend. It was a good weekend for him. And then softball, I think that like if we had a bunch of questions about the softball team, they were begun to be answered. Arkansas coming in this weekend, who I think is top 10 in the country.
They're
is that
5,
right?
right?
They're like,
they were 5.
It's like 8 or 5, somewhere in between 5 and 8. Big series coming up this weekend. But going back into last weekend with Texas, Kendall Wells is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Well, and she didn't really have a great series, but I mean, she came
had
up
the
with
big,
a big
she had
hit.
the big bop in the second game, and Audrey Lowry, she is star.
I think she's the ace. She's the ace now. She did the game 3. She came in to close it out and gave up those 2 home runs there in the extras.
Yeah, after taking the lead, it would have been just a nice little statement if you could get out of there with a
you would have thought
sweep.
Texas won the World Series when they won that game 3.
Well, you got to realize how
I was watching the Masters.
Scared Mike White is of OU.
I mean, got him last year, so we'll see. I mean, those 2 teams should be playing each other again, I would imagine.
But definitely
it was
or the SEC championship.
If you're an OU fan, you love that they went into Austin.
Oh, yeah.
First time since 2022.
And then made them go
crazy
to extras to get the third.
And they won the series.
Yeah.
So
they got to go. They should go win tonight too. They should take care of business in Bedlam.
And then it's a big series
weekend
with Arkansas. Arkansas, if things broke right for Arkansas, if they ended up winning the rest of their series, I think that they could end up pushing for the regular season title.
Well, I think they would. They would win it.
They would win it, yeah.
Same with OU. I mean, OU's in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they got a couple game lead on everybody.
Yeah.
Diamond Sports.
They look really good
overall.
right now.
Diamond Sports very good, very healthy, very healthy right now.
All right, spring game coming up Saturday. Lots of great coverage. Owen Heinecke coming up tomorrow. So that's it. 8:30 is when that starts, George?
Yeah, it's early. I'm going to have to
tomorrow morning.
Get up early and head down to Norman.
I hate that for you. I absolutely hate that for you. Real quick, before we get out of here, congratulations in order. This just came across the radar. Jocelyn Allo and Bobby Evans had a baby. So congratulations to them. OU should offer now.
Yeah.
Yep.
They want that. Whatever sport the kid ends up playing, I don't even know if it's a boy or girl.
Don't know?
Actually, it's a boy because it's Bobby Evans the third.
Nice.
Bobby Evans Jr., Bobby Evans the third.
That's going to be a large kid. It's got to be an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle.
It's going to be a great player. Offer just all sports. The University of Oklahoma has offered the child. Don't have to specify the sport right now.
And we don't even have to check it. We can just report that as fact. Like, that's absolutely already.
Yeah.
If it hasn't happened, it will.
Every sport in Oklahoma should offer.
Shout out also. I mean, men's and women's gymnastics doing well, but tennis program's doing really well right now.
Yeah, the
shout out to them.
The women
program's like the best.
They won
team
the
in
SEC.
Yeah.
It's crazy. To say that I could name a single player, that'd be a lie. But congratulations to them.
All we really know is that the tennis team has that one guy that everybody wanted to try out for football.
Yeah, he's still playing.
He's still playing.
Bruno?
Yeah.
I do know his name. He came on radio thing. Talked to Kinsey Hansen this morning as well. She was in studio.
Oh, yeah? Very nice. I always enjoy talking to her.
They just got married, and, obviously with Kobe
moving
McKenzie.
to Chicago?
Well, she's moving back here because she's playing for the Spark.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In the summer. For the AUSL or something like that.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of money from Major League Baseball, kind of, enhancing the sport, if you will. So it was good to catch up.
Also, real quick before we get out of here, Josh, enjoyed your answers to who would be our walk-up song if we were playing baseball still. I want to say I did want to point out. Yeah, Ryan Adams basically he's a scumbag.
Okay.
He's also kind of let himself go. I think he's kind of falling into obscurity, but. I spent a lot of money getting his first pressings back when I really was a fan, and a lot of money down the drain there. Not that I buy records for investment, but
so that's an interesting question. Like, is that a thing for you, Carey? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know what Ryan Adams did. I don't know what level of scumbaggery.
It's because he did it to
about.
Mandy Moore. That's why.
I think he beat up a woman.
No, he was just emotionally abusive.
Oh. So he beat her up. He beat her up her brain,
and I think he used his position to try and get sexual favors from younger artists and things. Allegedly,
I mean, on the scale of people doing bad things in the world right
like
now.
Phoebe Bridgers.
What did you put his mind, Josh?
I don't think he picked one for you.
He did one for me, I think. Who did you pick for my walk-up song?
Yeah, I did. Who did I pick? I went with something from Zach Bryan.
Okay.
I was like,
the orange or whatever.
Something in the
yeah.
I mean, I do like Zach Bryan. His music at least.
So what would you go with?
The song that I really like, and it would be stealing from Charlie Blackmon, who used to play for. Does he still play for the Rockies?
No, he retired.
That's what I thought. He had an iconic one, "Your Love" by Outfield.
Mm-hmm.
That was an iconic.
I remember that. Yeah,
I think that's what I would choose, but I guess I'd be copying someone else. But I love that song too, or something. Springsteen.
I think I would. I think I would throw in some Backstreet Boys every once in a while.
Oh wow!
Backstreet's back. All right.
Yeah.
I think I've had to use a walk-up song before, and I used Ghostland Observatory, Midnight Voyage. Great walk-up song. But if I was a baseball player, I think I would get with one of the Spanish-speaking players on the team, and I'd get like one of the most like
Tejano type.
Yeah, like Anthony Rizzo used a bunch of Latino music. It's pretty badass
Maybe
for a
some Bad
baseball
Bunny?
player. Sure. I don't want to piss off the Bad Bunny people. I know how they come after people on the internet.
I didn't realize that all went on. I just didn't pay that much attention. I didn't care enough.
No.
It's the Super Bowl
easily the
halftime.
toughest one
I don't care.
was Bob. I didn't have a clue. What
Yeah,
to pick
nobody
for
knows
Bob's
anything
walk-up.
about Bob in his personal life.
Careless Whisper.
Oh, that's amazing.
What if it was like hard? Like it was like Luke Skywalker and 2 Live Crew that he picked.
That would be amazing.
Did they do? Who
I
did
could see
Tootsie
Bob
Roll?
doing
Did
some
they
like
do Tootsie Roll?
Metallica or something.
Was Luke Skywalker and 2 Live Crew Tootsie Roll?
Yeah, I think that's right. But see, I don't.
What'd you end up
Bob
picking for
doesn't
Bob?
feel metal to me at all. I think I went with like.
Oh no, I could
like-
totally see Metallica. I could totally see Seek and Destroy.
I think
like
I could
that
see
for Bob.
Metallica for sure. He's big WWE guy.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
it would be like
that's
John
true.
Cena's
That's fair.
music or something.
Yeah.
Or he would probably
I
go
went
more
with-
old school. He'd probably go like, "I am a real American," something like that.
I've always gone with Bob as like more of like a hip hop guy.
Tootsie Roll
Like
is
that's
69 boys, by the way.
Got to represent the south side of Chicago type of thing, Josh.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, again, like the thing about Bob,
I think he's in contemporary from somebody that has probably driven a car with him the most.
Yeah. The thing that always sticks out to me about Bob is I would go to football games. We're at high school games. There's the national anthem going on, and Bob would always cross his arms. I'm like, why are you crossing? Like, is this like a statement? And he goes, no, I grew up and Michael Jordan did that. And so he does the arms behind his back. I'm sorry, I said cross arms. Does the arms behind his back.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Back to back and then arms crossed.
Yeah. And so he goes, I loved Michael Jordan, so I do that. And, like Eddie said, for those who don't know, Bob's a Chicago native. So,
but when he would take recruit photos, he would pose them like that, too.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back with their arms crossed.
He's definitely done that.
Bob loves a old newspapery posed photo. There's no doubt.
If it were I've told you guys this story before. My first job was at the company that owned Sooners Illustrated. And we would thumb through their issues from the 80s, and it was the thing for 3 years straight. All the cover photos were football players with their shirts off, posing. It looked like a gay porn mag. I mean, it was. When you look at it in today's day and age, you're like, what were people thinking? But that was what the move was back then. Oh. No, but I think it would either be The Rock or Steve Austin's theme is what Bob would walk up to.
Oh, okay. I could see. Yeah, okay. I could buy that. I have no idea what those are, but I could believe that.
The Rock is one where the glass breaks at the beginning. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that's probably it would be something along the wrestling gene, if you will.
The glass is Stone Cold.
Oh,
Stone Cold. Yeah, the glass is Stone Cold. Okay, sorry, Andrew just.
What did we say it was?
The Rock.
I didn't watch wrestling growing up.
Same. Never.
I would watch some wrestling. I like the Andre the Giant era stuff when I was little. Would watch some Mad Dog and some. Captain. Was it Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik when they would go at it? It was you couldn't pull that off you probably could pull that off in this day
you
and age.
Definitely could do the Iron Sheik today. There's no way.
Anyway, all right. That's going to do it. Well, we appreciate everybody listening. See, we saved all the stupid stuff for the end this time. We didn't do 20 minutes of stupid stuff at the beginning. We like to change it up. But that will do it. We'll be back. We'll have lots to talk about. As we said, Thursday, you'll have instant analysis from the Owen Heinecke NCAA injunction case. Saturday, you'll have post-game. We'll have more practice reports rolling out here between then and now, now and then. And then the recruiting weekend, we'll be back with a big recruiting report after that's all said and done with as well. So lots of stuff to come. And then we got the caravan season starting that we didn't think that we had. So thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.